Welcome back, guys, to LCK 2019. That's Jun, but now we are finally on your screen. And guys, SKT 1-0 up in this series, but we've seen this story many, many times, and also against DAMWON this year. Can they now close it out as a 2-0? Because that first game was definitely impressive, especially the well-deserving MVP now tied for first place with Tarzan. Clid had just a stellar performance.
Yeah, Clid got them a lot of advantages early on. He managed to carry Tarzan to level 6 inside of that laning phase, and he put a really big hurt onto Nuguri. And just throughout the remainder of the game, I mean, he was a key component in a lot of the fights and did so much for them. So I think a very well-deserved MVP.
Yes, and I missed it while it actually happened, guys, but the cash-in from the Draven was 1,951 gold. So Teddy did finally get there.
Well,
it was irrelevant, but he did finally actually cash in. So.
He did. He got it when it didn't matter.
Yep.
So.
But if he hadn't have cashed in at all, I think everyone would have been very, very depressed, me included. And so thankfully, at least now, we can get into this next game knowing that Teddy doesn't need to hop back on the Draven just so that he can cash in his adoration stacks. Checking out the coaches here, seeing whether or not Zeph is going to be able to put it all together for SKT in their next draft. FLICKR just looking like he's raring to go, ready to get back into the game.
Well, we'll see what the draft is for SK Telecom this time around, and if DAMWON is going to take a different approach. I do think that the Kha'Zix was a little bit bizarre from DAMWON in the last game. And even though they were arguably even or slightly ahead at one point in the mid-game, despite SK Telecom having a gold advantage, they didn't know how to, I guess, bring it all together and make something happen off of it. And so it didn't really matter.
I think as well that Showmaker just didn't land enough of his paddle stars in the mid-game in order to get them any of these advantages. And yes, they had some brute forces where they went up the mid lane, like their Rift Herald play was actually very good once it was actually utilized. So certainly some things to look for, but still some shining lights here as Nuguri pretty angry after that Akali game where he was camped and then had a really bad time despite trading quite nicely in that laning phase.
We'll see if Nuguri can do better this time around. I still stand by the fact that if DAMWON is going to beat SKT, it's going to be through him. We saw that even though he got so many disadvantages early on and he was getting caught by these ganks by Clid, he was still able to stay relevant and go toe-to-toe with Khan. So what happens when he gets an advantage?
Yeah.
Up in the top lane. So we're going to jump into pick ban number 2. SK Telecom is going to be on the red side now. First ban, Lucian against Teddy.
Yeah, Lucian going to be taken away with second ban from DAMWON in game number 1. So just mixing up the orders here, but still just don't want to see it even now that they're on the blue side. See whether SKT just goes for the standard Cassio first ban or whether they're going to look at something else. I have a feeling that Vladimir first ban sounds like a good idea to me.
Cassio and Vlad, 2 very respectable bans. Yes. Cassio is the first one, and now you're DAMWON, and you ban away the Galio. And this is interesting because it could mean that they just try to go for a first pick Akali, although FLICKR has shown that he's willing to play Lissandra, which is one of the other counters that some people consider against her.
Sort of like the best matchup for going into the Akali, I guess, because I think counter is a little bit of a strong word. As SKT thinking about what the next ban is going to be. Aatrox taken off the board. No flexing that one around on the side of DAMWON Gaming.
So with Aatrox taken off, that does mean that Urgot is one of the primary top kings right now.
Yep.
That could certainly be picked.
And if it's banned, then FLICKR has to play a different champion.
It's going to be Sion?
What's going to happen? His whole champion pool has been evaporated in 2 bans.
Oh, man.
Definitely just messing around, guys, because FLICKR can play a lot of different champions, and thank God now he doesn't actually have to play Galio and Urgot. If he just plays Lissandra, I will shed a tear. That will happen. Final ban now available for SKT. What they're going to take off the board? Akali. Going to bite the dust. So a lot of different champions need to be drafted this time because last game we did have Galio, Akali, and Aatrox, and now we're going to have none of them. And Rakan, a very, very big one here for DAMWON Gaming, and we mentioned it before. They love the Xayah Rakan, and they play it pretty damn well.
Yeah, and so now we'll see if SK Telecom actually just want to eat the Xayah to prevent it. That was something that used to happen a lot in the past, but I don't think that it's something that SKT might consider themselves needing to do, as they're hovering the Ezreal.
Yeah, and they could just do Ezreal Tahm Kench if they wanted to here, get Teddy and Marta a very comfortable lane. Still a lot more on the board and available. If we have a look at our last bans, the Vladimir now slipped through, and Tahm Kench was actually banned by DWG Gaming on the red side, if you remember. So they can snap it up here. Can SKT, but they don't necessarily need to if they want to ban it last round. Sorry, pick it up last round, but nope, they're going to take it away. SKT just round out that bottom lane very comfortable.
And now when you're DAMWON, you already know that you're probably just going to pick the Xayah, so just get it out of the way.
You certainly don't want to go through this round without picking it, unless there are other higher priority champions that they want to be locking away.
Well, I think Xayah and then accompanying it with... Oh, Kai'Sa. Okay, a little bit of a mix-up. I think accompanying it here with a jungler pick would be ideal. When you know that you're likely going to have the deeper champion pool in top lane, and with so many top laners having already been pinched, you could just try to pinch it even further in the second ban phase. And even then, I mean, Nuguri is going to have to be picking blind most likely, and unless they pick for Khan right here.
Well, the Rise is being looked at. One of the most ridiculous performances that Nuguri had was on this Rise, I believe, in the Casper Cup. Just did a hell of a lot of damage and was basically immovable. So it's going to be locked away, but could certainly be Showmaker's champion as well. And on the blue side, it's all about getting those flex picks, giving yourself as much of that flexibility as possible. Bottom lane locked in and only showing one of their solo lanes. Now is SKT. What are they going to answer with? The Jace being considered. That can be going into the mid or top side. But when Khan's on the roster, you generally assume that it's going top.
This would be so sick if we actually get to see Nuguri's Rise against Khan's Jace, because those are two of their iconic champions. So if you want to see a battle of titans, that would be up there. And now we're moving into the second ban phase. All the junglers are still on the table.
Yeah, everything. As Aurelia is going to be banned, so still, all of the junglers are up.
Camille still available. Kha'Zix still available. Karthus, although we haven't been seeing him.
No.
Which is so surprising. You want to talk about a jungler that's unfun.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure you find it pretty fun. I've seen your match history.
Yeah. Do you want to hit tab at 4 minutes and check if any of your solo laners died and then feel how good you are when you're ahead? That's great. That's a great feeling. Reminds me of Shyvana.
I feel like as soon as you see someone playing Karthus, the only thing that they like about playing League of Legends is winning.
It is the worst feeling in the world when you're against a jungle Karthus. You fail a gank, you're like, oh no, man, that's 3 camps for Karthus.
Yep.
And he's smiling as he's pathing golems to grind. He doesn't care. He's going to find his Archie in a couple of minutes.
Exactly. It's like playing PvE League of Legends.
I love it.
Oh my god.
And... Alright, so junglers do end up being banned away. Kha'Zix, Sejuani, and Jin Zhao taken off the table. Lee Sin still on the table, but Olaf being hovered.
Yeah, continuing to flex that Jace theoretically between mid and top, so SKT leaving things a little bit up in the air. I like the Olaf pickup here, but Lee Sin is going to be brought back by Clid, wants another MVP, wants to be able to put 100 points between him and Tarzan at the top of the table. See whether he can do it 2 games in a row, as DWG Gaming now need to round out this roster and tell us where the Rise is going.
And there's the Scion.
So now we still don't know
we got a very fun, we don't know where the Rise
is
going to be, mid or top. And Talia being hovered. This would be
19 seconds to go,
okay,
but it's the Nocturne instead. Okay, so a lot of globals now with this squad. Theoretically, you can have everyone just rushing in on top of whoever gets caught out, because you got a big steam train with the Scion. But we were talking about this before. We recently saw, of course, Bjergsen picking this one up in the mid lane for TSM, but no, going to be moved away from as now FLICKR just going through that champion pool, figuring out what he wants to play, and Corki going to be locked in.
And so Corki is likely going to be in the middle lane, and one of the things that's interesting about DAMWON is they locked in the Scion and the Nocturne, and they showed a heavy amount of engage, even when Tahm Kench and Ezreal's already on the enemy team.
Yeah.
And that's really bizarre. So very similar to DWG Gaming's draft in game number 1, you wouldn't think to see these champions picked after the enemy team already showed you what they were intending to do. So comp-wise, a little bit of self-counter going on, but I mean, obviously they're thinking, okay, well, we're just going to delete you, but if you're assuming that both teams are evenly skilled, it's a lot easier for SKT to pilot their composition than it is for DAMWON.
And I find it really interesting as well. I mean, I only get to watch a few games here and there of different regions because the LCK goes for so incredibly long, and we do need to sleep at some points. But the last person that I saw play the Corki was Pyrian, and of course was sitting next to FLICKR on SKT last year. So seems like even though he's moved to a different continent, they're still in the same mindset. But I do like what this comp does on the side of DAMWON much better than their Game 1 draft. I felt like the Game 1 draft was much too squishy. They didn't have a lot of win conditions when it came to that mid-game outside of the Zoe doing way more damage. And this time, SKT, a very different draft. Can't draft around the Galio, and we'll see whether this one's going to work out, because my questions were more for Zephyr and the drafting rather than the SKT players themselves as we hit the Rift. Alright, SKT fans going second this time around, so at least we're coming in with some more yelling. As Noguri has the right Scion skin. Lumberjack Scion definitely the right Scion skin. As Khan and Nada getting the curl around. Noguri might actually have to flash here as Canyon going to turn up a little bit late. Flashing a little bit late also, but will survive as they respect the potential damage of the Nocturne, as now FLICKR might be overextended. Hoyt comes in, but only down to about 200 health, and already people getting frisky as Teddy has to flash very early. Oh my goodness. Okay, guys, calm down.
Yep. So, a little bit of a clown fiesta right at the very beginning of this game. And if we talk about what both team compositions want to do, obviously the Jace wants to get ahead of the Scion. If Nocturne doesn't have ultimate to help him out, then Jace is going to be able to have his way, get himself a few plates early on inside of the laning phase. And Canyon, on a blue side Nocturne, does not want to be pathing to top anytime he doesn't have his ult available, or if he doesn't have a clear shot with Nuguri having a good laning phase.
I think Noguri's going Battle Scion as well. He's taken the Comet this time around instead of anything a little bit more defensive. And Khan, he's going to full investment build with the Kleptomancy, as you just saw. So he's trying to abuse the Scion, but this Scion might hit back a little bit harder than the others that you may be used to.
And interestingly, right here, we see Nocturne ignoring his Wraith camp entirely and pathing straight towards the Scuttle Crab. And Clit on the flip side, he recognizes that his laners don't need him early on. He doesn't have an obligation to be anywhere, and so not wanting to fall too far behind of Nocturne's power farming, he's just going for the red into Golems, and he'll transition either into Scuttle Crab left-hand side after this, not knowing what to expect, or he just passed into the right-hand side, but it does look like he's going to path left. This gives Jace the coverage, denies any attempt for Canyon to try to relieve pressure.
But on vision here for Canyon, so we'll see whether SKT can do anything about it, as FLICKR, once again, below half health. Showmaker getting really nice trade onto him, and haven't really spoken about it, but the Scion wasn't flexed to the mid lane or anything like that, so we're not going to get Noguri's rise. We are going to get the Scion matchup instead, and Showmaker will be on the rise this time around.
The thing that's very confusing to me is they have a lot of mismatch in their champions and team composition as to when these champions spike and what they're looking to do. And that could really impact their mid-game. Because Ezreal and Corki, they just have the freedom to sit back. And even though Jace, you might make, you know, the argument, oh, well, he begins to sort of tip her off. Against this team composition, DAMWON's so much more reliant on their ultimates and their flashes and whatnot than SKT is. And with the first Infernal of the game being, or the first Dragon of the game being an Infernal, means a lot more for SKT than it does for DAMWON.
Yeah, and one thing that I really love talking about, always have, is power spikes, right? And that's why Corki is one of my favorite champions, because he gets a power spike whenever he completes an item. Trinity Force will be coming in first, and then we'll see where he's going to go with the build. Certainly a lot of different options for Corki, but does work very well with an Ezreal, because Ezreal does similar things. Of course, you get to those two items, and generally, you've got your Corki feeling in a pretty good spot at that point as well. As Khan gonna jump on forward, but that charge up on the Q really fighting back for Noguri. Not a lot of mana here on Khan, and actually wins the trade, does the Scion.
And Khan trying to crash this wave into the turret, and as you pointed out, he is running a little bit low on mana, but he does still have a Biscuit and the Corrupting Potion.
Yep.
And he's winning quite handily in CS. He's already up 7 in only 4 minutes.
always is going to be a difficult lane for the Scion, but feels like it is going very, very well for Khan, despite losing out on some of those trades. Bottom side of the map, Teddy managed to get himself a red pot, I believe, that just timed out. Still just trying to stack up his Kleptomancy as well. So SKT just going to naturally have some pretty big leads as Teddy somehow had enough mana to get out with the Arcane Shift. You can tell that Hoyt probably going in for that grand entrance thinking that maybe that button was blue.
So now this is one of the unfortunate things that due to the openings by both junglers, Lee Sin is on the top left-hand side of the map at the exact time that Nocturne's rubber band camps are respawning inside of the Gromp and the Wolves. And so Nuguri is not going to be able to experience any aid, and with Khan recalling, what this means is that the wave bounces back into Khan, and Canyon's not able to stick around for that, which means that Scion can find himself in an awkward spot.
And it looks really comfortable here for Khan as well. He's going to teleport back to the lane. I was wondering whether he was going to do that or just walk back, because like you say, the wave in a decent position, but he wants to keep up as much pressure as he possibly can. 10 CS is the advantage. Glacial Shroud picked up by Noguri, just trying to get himself as close to relevancy as possible. Righteous Glory seems to be the rush here, just to make sure that he's as effective as he can be in the mid-game. But this is certainly going as expected, right? I mean, if you're a Scion in this lane, you're just expecting to cop it over and over again until hopefully the laning phase is over and you haven't died too many times.
And this laning phase is more so measured not by what is Jace's CS advantage per se, but rather how close is Scion able to stay. If at 10 minutes or something, Nuguri's only down 15 CS, he won the lane.
Yeah.
Because it's not supposed to be going 50-50. Scion's not supposed to be able to win. So it's more so measured by how close he can stay to the Jace.
Speaking of close to the Jace, Clid should be able to lock down this Rift Scuttler, but Canyon, only level 5, doesn't have Paranoia. There's no Dragon Rage kick on Clid either. Noguri trying to get some control back here on the top side. Level 6s are in there, but it's going to run on forward. It's the Soul Furnace to proc, but not actually going to do too much extra damage. Oh, it's looking absolutely fine here for Noguri topside.
Yeah. His Scion's actually faring quite well. Khan's definitely getting the worst end of some of these trades. Very uncharacteristic.
Comet
and now,
Scion, man.
Nocturne's about to hit 6. He's going to eat this red buff. Oh, he actually already has it, even before the red buff. So everyone has to be respectful right now.
Yep, and speaking of respectful, Teddy actually goes for the Sheen completion instead of the tier, just making sure that he's got as much control in this lane as possible. We see this often to try and get through what can be difficult lanes, but just wanting to win more as Clid turns up topside. Noguri does have that ult available, but Khan, you can see, trying to stand in front of him. The Lumberjack just going to waddle underneath this turret, but there's the flash. Zombie Scion going to be positioned away as well, and he's got a big minion wave to contend with SKT once again. First blood, the hands of Clid.
Yeah, and that was a really peculiar first blood. It actually looked like SKT just wasn't going to be able to get it, but then Nuguri said, you know what, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me ult right into you really quick.
Wanted to get that trade kill, but just didn't quite have enough available.
And he doesn't have ult to go back into top lane, which means that the next minion wave is going to push back into Jace. Jace isn't going to have TP either, so Nuguri going to be a little bit hard-pressed to crash it. Watch this gank right here. Khan completely gives this away. Clid even shows himself. And at this point, Nuguri can just flash away. And there was no way Clid could follow. Nocturne has 6. He's eating his rubber-banded golems. He's in close proximity to Infernal. I don't know what Nuguri was thinking.
Yeah, it was very, very strange. And then flashing when he was definitely dead afterwards, burning down with the red buff. I don't know. He saw something, and it didn't work. So there are some times where
probably watch Bird Box, judging by how that gank just worked.
God.
You know,
God. Did you like that film?
You know, I didn't mind it.
I felt like it was the perfect example of a film where I wasn't bored or upset during the film, but I didn't actually think it was that good. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like I was thoroughly entertained, but I just wouldn't necessarily call it good.
The impressive thing to me is that Sandra Bullock is 54.
Oh, she was phenomenal in that film too.
She's 54. She looks like she's 30.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
I don't get it. That's not witchcraft. I don't know. I don't know what else is.
Well, I don't know whether witchcraft is actually real, but now I'm starting to think that maybe you're onto something. Okay. anyone's listening is friends with Sandra Bullock, can you let us know exactly how she does it? I know we're in the skincare capital of the world, and theoretically we should know, but haven't figured it out quite at that level just yet. Because, I mean, I'm getting old, man. So it might be worth doing. Is this Infernal Drake going down relatively quickly, courtesy of FLICKR's package that he just delivered to it? Canyon, though, there's the Paranoia, wants to get the steal, doesn't. Kickback onto Canyon, but that's a beautiful quickness combo from Hoyt as he dives this way forward. The first kill does go down onto Clid, but DAMWON special delivery. See you later, Mata.
Oh, and they're just going to ignore the turret and say, Teddy, can you please come with me?
Yeah, thankfully they were tanking with the right person as Teddy tries to get his way out, but he can't. It's the Death Squad, and DAMWON Gaming get 3 easy kills.
Yeah, so let's talk about what just basically happened. SK Telecom picked up the Infernal. Now that thing is going to scale so much later on for this SKT team comp. It's going to end up being a multi-thousand gold worth dragon. And SKT, they do get some minion wave. We'll take a look at this replay really quick. So, Clid, being a hero, managed to actually get the Infernal. If they didn't, this was catastrophic for SKT. The quickness locking everyone up, and then the Rise ultimate. Nagari says, hey, I'm helping. Yeah. Managed to get right into the portal.
I mean, he is the train driver, so generally getting into the train is something that he's got some practice in. As our Showmaker flashes just to secure this one onto Teddy.
So right here, they got 3 kills and SKT got 1, but you have to factor in the minion waves that SKT is getting in mid lane and top lane, as well as the XP and the plate. Yep. So even though on paper it looks, wow, really cool, DAMWON Gaming just got 3 kills and SKT only got 1. SKT won out through all of that.
And you can see it in the gold.
Yep.
1300 is going to be the lead here for SKT, and they know it. Only 3 left on those plates in the mid lane, 4 on the top side, which is exactly why this lead is there.
And the Infernal Drake, it's massive,
yeah.
Especially this early on as well for all auto-attack-based champions.
Oh no, the Corky Bug is back.
What's the Corky Bug?
The permanent Gatling gun.
I love it.
You love it? That's
my first time seeing it.
Oh, it's not great.
He's very happy.
Do you remember the Constazonias?
No.
It's like that, but worse. As here we've got a fight on the bottom side of the map point once again. The quickness perfectly positioned as Mato's trying to get the Devour in the right spot as Teddy just throws his ultimate in the wrong direction.
Trying to farm.
He should be able to get out of here, but nope. Nuclear just going to get it. Double kill comes through for the Kaiser, and this has gone from bad to worse about as quickly as you can possibly go.
And the quickness able to make that go very quickly. And right now they're going to be able to actually get first turret in all the plates on bottom. SK Telecom, they're going to be able to respond with the Rift Herald and Khan as well. I mean, still 2 minutes remaining. Definitely on the plates. Khan's going to be able to get himself a lot, and now they're going to summon Rift Herald in mid lane, so fireworks are happening all over the map.
Yeah, and they've also made sure that they're going to get this tower on the bottom side as well, as Teddy teleported up there, so Shelly gets in through, and look at all of these turret plates. It was actually SKT that managed to get our most perfect game that we have seen so far, which is all of the turret plates and not losing any yourself. So they are very, very good at smacking down these turrets. This time, though, they do have to sacrifice bottom side, and they're losing out on these trades. The engagements are where DAMWON Gaming really are excelling. So this game, as a layman, like you say, you look at it and you think, DAMWON, oh, they must be winning. 5 kills to 1. They're getting these team fights beautifully. But SKT are being able to rake in the gold a little bit more quickly. Having double Kleptomancy also helps on that one. But you can see, wasn't a whole lot Mata and Teddy could do.
Yeah, they were just a little bit too far forward. Didn't respect that Canyon was there. And Clid, meanwhile, as he's taking the Rift Herald, doesn't have any intel on the blue side jungle. If they saw those camps up, you can deduce pretty easily, okay, wait a minute, these camps have been up for a while, Nocturne can't be here, and then Teddy and Mata can just back up, but DAMWON managing to punish their mispositioning, convert that into the first turret, got a lot of stacks, they're keeping themselves in this game.
They are. Still, all of the plates remain on the top side, but we've only got 30 seconds to go, so DAMWON going to miss out on that gold. You can see FLICKR making his way up there, very close to picking up his Trinity Force. Only needs to complete the Stinger and then get that 3-3-3 in order to complete that recipe. And that will be spike number 1 for the Corky with the Sork Boots and the Trinity Force. See whether that means that we will see SKT actually starting a fight that they can win, because we haven't seen that so far here today. It's been DAMWON Gaming grouping up as 5, throwing themselves at SKT, and SKT not really having an answer just yet.
Right now the game might get a little bit explosive in 30 seconds. The Mountain Drake needs to be super high priority for both teams. If SK Telecom can get a Mountain, then Baron threats are a very, very real thing with this team composition. And then the poke that it's able to dish out in Baron Sieges with that Corki, the Ezreal, and the Jace is just insane.
As far as DPS, this composition is almost the best you can possibly put together, minus, say, something like a Cassiopeia, because Corki, DPS-wise, pretty huge, and Khan, no slouch either on the Jace. So yeah, you're exactly right. The Baron is going to be a huge threat. But it looks like we'll have Canyon just soloing down the Mountain Drake. It's being pinged here as Khan's trying to make his way in, but I have a feeling that this Drake should be going down, at least in actually taking some time on the top side. Khan going to turn up. Showmaker is here, but FLICKR is a very long way away. It's cleared, wants to get... Oh, the kick was perfectly placed, and FLICKR should be delivered this kill. Very easily picks that one up with that Trinity Force that's complete. The flash over, but the pre-flash comes in, and Hoyt guarantees that kill. Another one going over to Canyon as Khan steps a little bit too far forward.
So trades happen across the map again, this time with DWG Gaming making out with the advantage. They got themselves the Mountain Drake. They killed Khan as well. He made a donation. And now Tier 2 turret going to be going over to DWG Gaming as well, as SKT look to respond with the capture of the mid-Tier 1.
Yeah,
and then after this,
go down.
There's no objectives on the map to fight over. So DWG Gaming, they still have to wait on their items on some of their champions. You can see Sion waiting to complete his Tier 1 item. He just got it. Frozen Heart, Kindle Gem picked up. Rai still waiting on his Seraph's Embrace. We might just see the game start to slow down now.
Yeah, and it's interesting that the Frozen Heart was gone for us. We're going to just watch Clid get that kick. The flash was so close to working, trying to get back into that Realm Warp, but it doesn't happen. SKT invests 4 members up there, though, which is why this happens. Khan's just trying to get out, but when there's a Paranoia and there's a Quickness, you ain't going to be doing nothing there. As Battle Dance Grand Entrance with the Quickness running means that Khan cannot get out.
Khan now returning down into bottom lane. No clue why he's immediately shoving the wave, but I guess he's trying to get Klepto procs.
Also just trying to bash this Sion as much as possible. Once again, going for highest damage in the game. As Canyon was down here, but doesn't have the Paranoia up just yet. Still got to wait a few seconds on that one, so Khan is going to be spared. For now, SKT with the Ezreal in the mid lane, the very standard stuff, and the 1-3-1 has been enacted. FLICKR, no teleport here on this Corki as he had to go for the cleanse, but he's still going to be able to shove this wave further forward. And Clid doesn't actually spot out that ward, so standing on top of Vision, unfortunately. So Showmaker going to know exactly what's going on. Now understands that he cannot move forward, but still going to be in the wrong position. The mini stun of the kick into the wall, and there was no excuse for that one. Showmaker, you had all the information.
Yeah, let's just get a zoom in on that, please. one more time.
Let's get a zoom in. how would you define that particular play from Showmaker, LS? How would you define it?
I don't think that can be defined. You know, defined are for things that...
Interesting, new, and odd decision to make. Unorthodox.
I can think of some...
yeah, there's some
some synonyms
words
for that.
Some synonyms. Yeah. That was an odd one, but hopefully just a brain fade that Showmaker can make up for. It is in his name, after all. Lots of vision, though, now going down for SKT. They're in all of the control. 2,000 gold is now the lead. It felt like the beginning of the game, DWG were able to find themselves some really nice fights, but just hasn't been enough to get themselves any kind of relevant lead or advantage. FLICKR is now looking for what could be a rapid-fire cannon, as item number 2 was always what Corkis were picking up. Haven't really gone back and checked out what all the Corkis are building nowadays. I personally like Essence Reaver on Corki. I think it's really good. Being able to press buttons more often.
Well, that does sound actually interesting. I haven't seen Corki in a very long time, so I'm actually not too familiar either. Coach, by the way.
Yeah,
so
by the way.
Just throwing that out there.
BBQ probably not going to be playing. Corki. Maybe they should have been playing Corki because, as you can see, FLICKR pretty good at dishing out a lot of hurt, and that's not even 2 items yet.
Well, Infernal Drake coming up in a minute. And if Nuclear doesn't recall right now, if he sticks around for another wave, he could end up being out of position. Speaking of out of position, Nuggery.
Yeah, Nuggery might just be dead here. Does need to set up the train, but thankfully Valkyrie's going to be there to block it. That means the flash, and the Sion has to get out. Outer turret still up, meaning that he is going to be safe for the moment. but has to invest the Summoner Spell and the ultimate. That Scion not going to be anywhere near as useful as he otherwise could have been in an upcoming fight.
And Dragon coming up in 45 seconds as Showmaker.
Here towards the top side of the map is Khan taking a lot of damage here actually, and Showmaker tries
Whoa!
to set up the Realm Warp, gets devoured, so that's not going to work, but does go 1-for-1 before the rest of SKT can arrive.
And both of these players have teleport, and Infernal coming up in 28 seconds. That needs to be the main focus. That was fantastic by Showmaker. He got himself the turret, picked up the kill onto Khan, also drew Tahm Kench's ultimate out.
Yep, and now has the Morellonomicon as well, so he's going to be even more of a threat. Actually, cashed in a lot of extra money. Seraph's Embrace was already transformed at that point, I believe, as well. And Canyon, speaking of Power Spikes, does have his GA, so he's going to be a lot more relevant than this Nocturne could have been in the past, and can actually play a little bit further up and utilize some of that DPS that he does have available to him.
Faker's not very healthy for this, and he's sitting on a lot of mana, and SKT just lose the Infernal.
Yeah, that's a whoopsie. That is definitely a whoopsie. Paranoia to come in, but it feels a little bit more defensive as Hoyt dives forward. This isn't the quickness that we saw last time, though, as Nuclear does lock down the first kill. Dives on forward, picks up the double now as the Kai'Sa feeling well and truly online at 20 minutes here into this game. SKT limp away after losing their jungler and top laner and the Infernal Drake. Yeah,
this is really bizarre. SK Telecom knew that this Infernal was coming up for the past 2 minutes. How do they let the lane states get to this, to the point where Faker's trying to recall 5 seconds before the Dragon spawns, Khan dies up in top lane, everything does not look to be going that well, and now DWG Gaming with that Mountain Drake, with the Kai'Sa, the Nocturne.
Oh my god, look how much damage this is taking. Faker wants to come on over, but they're just going to obliterate it. DWG Gaming move over to the Baron, look at it, and it dies.
So, let's take a look at the Infernal Drake. Now, let me give you some antonyms for how I felt about this.
Okay.
Good, fantastic, great,
right.
amazing.
That's finding different ways. I really like it. I really like it. But yes, you're exactly right. Nothing really going in favor of SKT at all. They just had to flash their way out after Nuclear just demonstrates that the Kai'Sa is well and truly online. Those two items are in. Has a Zeal now, so going for that more AD version. 4-0-3 though, and quietly, this Kai'Sa has set herself up to be 700 gold bounty worth, and certainly the main focus for SKT in this game moving forward.
And SK Telecom, they're still in this game. Both teams have an Infernal Drake. One of the good things that they have going for them is that mid-tier 1 turret is such a thorn in DAMWON's side right now. It is so obnoxious for the Baron Siege because you're going to end up wasting a minion wave just on that turret. You can't quite reach the turret number 2 unless they go for this heavy engage right here.
Well, they're looking for it. As the Baroned up minions are heading forward, Faker trying to land the poke, and does certainly have a lot of opportunity. Hoyt standing on top of a ward, and SKT not going to get dove this time.
And they're just able to hold off at this tier 1. And then you see what's happening in the side waves. SK Telecom, I guess, missing out on a few minions up in top lane.
So far, they have been repelling this Baron relatively effectively. The Baron power play is nothing to speak of as of just yet. True Shot Barrage going to be utilized, but now doesn't do that much damage to these minions as Hoyt yet again just looking for a quickness opportunity. Canyon has the Paranoia available as well as Teddy jumps on over to him. So now that Paranoia is not going to be utilized, down to about half health. It's Khan. Powered Shock Blast, and thankfully they can answer back. That wasn't a visual bug, I actually thought maybe it was, as Hoyt was very, very close to that turret, but no, he's actually there. Just wandering on through though, and DAMWON just waiting for that next opportunity to engage.
They just can't get this mid turret. They're trying their damnedest to do the Nayram.
Well, Nogri's just going to walk towards them. That's his strategy. The quickness also just tying everyone up, and SKT's health bars are melting at the hands of DWG Gaming. Canyon utilizes his GA absolutely beautifully, and this may just be base broken on this push.
Well, Ezreal and Corki able to hold on, I guess, just a little bit, and there's no more minion wave. Now they're able to pick it up. They're going to at least lose one more turret here. That one's going to fall extremely quickly.
Yep, that Rage Blade going to be stacking up. The Showmaker is preparing the top lane in a turret. And now that Baron power play looking much better. 3,500 gold. And that's actually translated into the lead here as DWG Gaming for the first time in this game after that Baron picked up that gold lead. And let's check out this fight yet again.
Look at Hoyt.
Hoyt's Rakan is so good, guys.
That is fantastic engages. He's been the MVP of this game.
Oh, he already is.
So far.
He's getting it. I'm putting down, that's my vote, even though we don't get a vote anymore. It is still my vote. And I hope he gets it. FLICKR only able to augment his build with another pickaxe. So is going to be looking for the very standard Corki build of the rapid fire cannon into the Infinity Edge. Still does work out very, very well for the Corki, and 3 items is where you want to be as far as getting that maximum damage. But talking about 3 items, they're in for Teddy. He's got the Archangel staff stacking, but he's 0-2-0 on this Ezreal this time. And look at how far behind the Kai'Sa he is. Nuclear is massive on this pickup on the bottom side for DAMWON.
And one of the other problems that SKT is facing right now is the level discrepancies between all of the champions. It's definitely another problem that they're going to have to come back from, and with another Mountain Drake coming up.
Wow, we had
Barons in
some
2 minutes.
real boring dragons in our first series, and now it's all Infernals and Mountains. We're getting the good stuff, even though my personal favorite is the Cloud Drake. I think movement speed is completely underrated. Big fan, but that's okay. These are the ones that these teams want, and DWG Gaming going to make it 3. As the next Baron, they're going to look at it, and it's going to be dead. It's basically what happened the first one, and I'm very, very frightened. For any Baron lovers out there, he's not lasting very long. In a minute and 20, assuming DWG Gaming can actually get the control around that area, because SKT have got all of the wards that they want around the back of the pit, can at least have themselves an avenue to get on over. This control ward's going to spot out Hoyt. Hoyt now knows where all of that vision is, so where they can actually get in there for that deep vision. Khan on the bottom side of the map just pushing this wave out, as Noguri will be in a great spot to try and get that engagement, but it's Teddy and Mata. Tahm Kench and the Ezreal very, very slippery. They're not going to pull any triggers just yet.
Right now, just a little bit over a 3,000 gold lead for DAMWON. They do have that Infernal to boot, though. And Seraph's Embrace, I'm not sure how close Teddy is to completing it. Khan has to be very close to the Guardian Angel.
Yes. So hopefully going to be going back relatively soon to grab that. 3 items in for the Jace is going to be very important for this guy. And Lee Sin does have his Guardian Angel as well, so put off the Black Cleaver just to try and equalize on the GA count with his opposite number in Canyon. Baron
going to be likely the final fight of the game. This SK Telecom team composition is very good at shredding turrets, but on the flip side, 2 Mountain Drakes for DAMWON. If they get a hold of another Baron, SK Telecom's team composition is a poke comp. Poke comps do not like Baron.
No, they don't. But at least they do have a lot of DPS. I mean, Teddy and FLICKR moving towards their items, like you say. Seraph's Embrace, Transform, going to be coming in very soon. He's got a pickaxe now. I'm not sure what that's going to be turning into, but it's there. And FLICKR very close to the Infinity Edge, as you can see. Maybe Teddy just looking for as much bang for your buck as you can possibly get, because these next fights are going to decide it for SKT. If they can ever have time to stand and deliver on SKT's side, Teddy and FLICKR will rip someone apart. Now Hoyt has to use the Battle Dance to get his way out. Grand Entrance, I'm sorry, as Showmaker maybe caught out here. Lots of damage availability as he's kicked in amongst the team. Does have the stopwatch, but eventually falls down. DWG Gaming can't follow up in time.
They do end up getting Showmaker. He does have teleport available, so depending on how long DAMWON can try to stall this, Baron's still a very real possibility. They did use Khan's Flash for that. They did get Showmakers as well.
Klid holds onto his Flash, though, so when that kick comes back up, which should be relatively short time, we'll be able to Flash kick someone. As Noguri thinking about going for something here, as Hoyt was going back, but now has to stop it. It's a bit of a scouting cue there, but SKT you can see playing very respectful of what DAMWON are capable of. Still only 2,000 in it, absolutely nothing to write home about.
I've seen quite a few videos to know where this was going, as Showmaker just
overextended Showmaker seems to be the thing for this game. That being said, he's farming very, very well and is still doing a lot of damage. Now has that Spellbinder completed for the extra movement speed and burst damage. If he activates it, he's going to be one scary rise. But that was his stopwatch now, and that has been taken out. So not Zhonya's yet. That might mean that SKT will have an easier time taking him down if they can just jump on top of him with everyone.
And all the SKT champions, they have their items completed.
Yeah,
this is
spikes.
a very good spot for them right now. Seraph's Embrace still on cooldown for Ryze. Super big.
Yeah, and it's now available for Teddy, like you were talking about. Infinity Edge done. So those item spikes that you're talking about, certainly a huge deal. Khan, even with the Last Whisper, as well as that GA that he was just about to complete the purchase of. So SKT actually are much stronger than they have been throughout this game. DAMWON need to get more of these incredible Hoyt engages. They're going to make this one work. At the moment, just bouncing around with his battle dance. When is the quickness going to come in? When is the engage going to be opted in for here from DAMWON? Because playing around the Tahm Kench's availability is going to be important, as well as FLICKR. Maybe a little bit too aggressive, but does have to use the cleanse to get himself out with the Valkyrie. True Shot Barrage, lands onto Showmaker. Just getting a little bit frustrated as they're getting poked out just a little bit, which is what SKT's composition certainly has the availability to do.
And Infernal now coming up in 15 seconds. If you're SKT, you really can't afford to just let this go away. It is so important to auto-attack based champions.
Oh yeah, 5 seconds now. Maybe SKT are thinking about going for some sort of trade here, but at the moment they're just clearing out vision. And DAMWON will just get this for free. SKT just playing scared.
Thought LCS ended. I'm not quite sure. Not sure what we're watching here, but they don't even attempt for Baron. There's no lane setup whatsoever.
I was watching 100 Thieves earlier on, so I got a bit of SKT in that game as well. Thank you very much, Bang.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know it wasn't exactly the greatest experience for Bang.
Oh.
Oh, that's a lot of value. Canyon at least does have the spell shield. But keeping the Kai'Sa honest is certainly something that SKT wants to be doing.
Okay,
hello. Be real careful. That last auto, not actually going to fire there from Teddy, but man, if he had to hit that W, that would have been most likely a dead Rakan. And Teddy now is feeling real good with the items that he's put together, and we know what Teddy can do on this Ezreal if given a long leash. I feel like the leash isn't short enough if you're a DAMWON Gaming fan.
Well, I think that right now what we're getting is the early preview to the Genji versus Jin Air Green Wings. Seems to be.
Oh no. Oh no. Well, I mean, this game, 32 minutes in. Come talk to me at 52 minutes into the game, and then I'll agree with you.
We're just getting started. Hold
yeah,
on.
exactly. This is the warm-up.
Baker without teleports going bot lane. Hold on.
He's got the package for the extra movement speed, though, LS. Okay.
Not gonna. Is he gonna eat Bertha?
I don't know.
That's the Gromp on the right side. The other one's Agatha.
That's Agatha and Bertha.
Yes, A and B.
Wow, they're just some really, really nice names there. Yeah. You got to be careful making fun of people. I mentioned Ingrid as being... Oh, okay, fight's going to break out instead of Showmaker. I've seen this movie before. As now it's looking like it's much better for DAMWON Gaming. GA's in there, but Showmaker's able to fight back as now Khan just throws his life away as well on this top side. FLICKR has the package, but is it going to be enough here as there's the Realm Warp? Package comes in, but I don't know whether it was a great idea as now Teddy watches on in horror as the man in the mid lane is going to bite the dust, and SKT are well and truly routed. That's a clean ace, and DAMWON Gaming will break open the base.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that this is just going to be the end of the game. They have a cannon minion here, Sion tanking, teleport coming in from Ryze. I hope that he bought a Sork Elixir. And it looks like that we are going into game number 3.
And what happens when these series go to game 3s for SKT? It's been a bad news story for SKT fans every single time. Hoyt on the fountain isn't even going to die, as the Nexus does, and DAMWON Gaming fight back. And man, SKT, I think you got to ban that Rakan this time around, because Hoyt was so damn good on that champion, getting the engages where he needed to, and Showmaker overextended multiple times, but that last time led to his team getting an ace, and DAMWON Gaming winning the game.
Yeah, SK Telecom this game looked very, very off. They were not managing their side lanes properly. They were just letting dragons completely go by the wayside, completely neglecting them. Khan looked very, very off. Nuguri was doing fantastic on the Sion into Jace matchup. And even though SK Telecom were getting themselves into nice spots and they got very good trades early on, it just didn't seem to matter. It was,
no.
I don't know what they were doing in the mid to late game. I don't think they knew.
It was just super weird as well watching, like you say, Khan on the Jace having such a difficult performance because we're so used to talking about this guy as the god of playing Jace on the top side of the map. And it felt like Nuguri just had the easiest time ever on his Comet Scion, just going CS for CS on the top side and going double Kleptomancy and then really not capitalizing on it. That's why we saw so much of a gold lead at the beginning of the game for SKT, but it just didn't even really matter. Once that game got into the mid game, once these fights continued to go further and further in favor of DAMWON Gaming, just really looked like a rough time for SKT, despite the fact that they took so many of the turret plates. The early game was navigated relatively well, and then if you don't do anything in the mid game, generally you're going to lose a game against a team fighting comp like this, especially one with a Ryze that does so much damage.
No, let's just take a look at the damage. I mean, the Lee Sin is virtually non-existent this game. Jace has a lot of damage. That's because he was always fighting with the Scion. Sorry about that. And the Corki, 15.1k damage. We saw at several points, FLICKR lit up people's health bars, but just didn't really matter all that much.
And also, that's probably one of the lower damage values that I've seen percentage-wise for an Ezreal that we've seen so far here in the LCK. Of course, the double-tier Ezreal build, he just forks out a lot of damage, and he can do it from relative safety. But Teddy just couldn't. Honestly, it was just DAMWON starting fights whenever they wanted to. And Hoyt was just so good. I have a feeling there's a bit of a spoiler as far as that MVP that you're going to be seeing relatively soon. But guys, Game 3 going to be coming up right after the very short break.